Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Canto 3, Chapter 8 and Text 3. Asīnamuryāṃ bhagavantamadhyam sankaršanam devamakunta sattvam vivitsavas tattvamatah parasya kumara mukhya munayonva prucchan. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Some time ago, being inquisitive to know, Sanat Kumara, the chief of the boy saints, accompanied by other great sages, inquired exactly like you about the truths regarding Vasudeva, the Supreme, from Lord Sankarshan, who is seated at the bottom of the universe. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is in clarification of the statement that the Lord spoke directly on the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. When and unto whom the Bhagavatam was spoken is explained herewith. Questions similar to those put forward by Vidura were asked by great sages like Sanat Kumara and Lord Sankarshan. The plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord Vasudeva answered them. I will read the next verses. Swameva dishnyam bahu manayantam yad vasudeva vidham amananti pratyagdruta akshambujakosham ishad unmilya yantam vibudhoda yaya. Translation. At that time Lord Sankarshan was meditating upon his Supreme Lord, whom the learned esteem as Lord Vasudeva. But for the sake of the advancement of the great learned sages, he slightly opened his lotus-like eyes and began to speak. Text 5. Swadhuni udhadrai swajata kalapair upasprishantas charanopadhanam dhanam padmam yadachanti ahirajakanya sapremanana bhalibhi varartha. Translation. The sages came from the highest planets down to the lower region through the waters of the Ganges, and therefore the hair on their heads was wet. They touched the lotus feet of the Lord, which are worshipped with various paraphernalia by the daughters of the Serpent King when they desire good husbands. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Ganges water flows directly from the lotus feet of Vishnu, and its course runs from the highest planet of the universe down to the lowest. The sages came down from Satyaloka by taking advantage of the flowing water, a process of transportation made possible by the power of mystic yoga. If a river flows thousands and thousands of miles, a perfect yogi can at once transport himself from one place to another simply by dipping in its water. The Ganges is the only celestial river which flows throughout the universe, and great sages travel all over the universe via this sacred river. The statement that their hair was wet indicates that it was directly moistened by the water originating from the lotus feet of Vishnu, the Ganges. Whoever touches the water of the Ganges to his head surely touches the lotus feet of the Lord directly and can become free from all effects of sinful acts. If after taking a bath in the Ganges or being washed of all sins, a man guards himself against committing further sinful acts, then certainly he is delivered. But if he again takes up sinful activities, his bath in the Ganges is as good as that of the elephant, who nicely takes his bath in a river but later spoils the whole thing by covering himself with dust on the land. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So after hearing the questions of Vidura, Maitreya Rishi is able to exactly recollect in whose conversations such questions were answered. Maitreya is referring to an ancient conversation that took between Kumara Mukhya, the Sanat Kumara, and Sankarshanam Devam, between Kumara Mukhya and the Supreme Lord in the form of Sankarshana. So, where is Lord Sankarshana? Asinam Uryam Bhagavantamadhyam. He is seated at the bottom of the universe. Lord Sankarshan is seated at the bottom of the universe, our universe, or all the universes. And then Sankarshanam Devam Akunta Tattvam. His knowledge is undeterred. The Supreme Lord's knowledge is never deterred or disturbed by any circumstance. In all circumstances, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is full of all knowledge. When we are mentally disturbed, we will not be able to recollect what we studied or what we understood previously. That means our knowledge is deterred or disturbed. But here, Akunta Sattvam, the Lord's existence is always transcendental to any kind of material disturbances. And then Vivitsavaha, very inquisitive to know Tattvam, the truth, about whom Parasya, about the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva. Kumara Mukhya Munayo Anmapruchan. So they have approached. So the Kumara, the Sanat Kumara, along with the other great sages, they have approached Lord Sankarshan, who is seated at the bottom of the universe. Actually, the last verse, if you see, it is mentioned that the Supreme Lord has spoken directly Bhagavatam to the great sages. But actually, we only know about Krishna speaking to Brahmā, the original, the demigod of the universe. But then how is it that the Lord directly spoke to the sages? So Brahmā is the original demigod, but where is the Bhagavata Purana or Bhagavatam spoken to some great sages? That clarification is given in this verse, that the Lord in the form of Sankarshana spoke Bhagavatam to the great sages, Kumara, Mukhya, Munayaha. Munayaha means great sages. So these four Kumaras, we all know they are Manasa Putras of Lord Brahmā. Lord Brahmā has a mission to populate the universe, one of his duties. But as an Acharya, he has a different mission. How these living entities in this universe can be delivered by giving them proper knowledge. So these Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana and Sanat Kumara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that they are Shakti Avesha, Avatara of the Supreme Lord. He explains Sanakadhye Jnana Shakti, Narade Shakti Bhakti, Brahmaya Shrishti Shakti, Anante Bhudharana Shakti. He is describing the Shakti Avesha Avataras. Actually, the Lord is the original proprietor of all the Shaktis, all the opulences, but He empowers certain either jivas or His own amshas, swamshas, with extraordinary powers so that they can accomplish certain missions. So here Sanaka Adhye Jnana Shakti, these four Kumaras are so well versed in the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, they are considered as invested with Jnana Shakti. The Lord's Jnana Shakti is manifest in these four Kumaras, but they themselves approach Lord Sankarshan for receiving the knowledge. So that's always the situation. The Lord is the original source for everything, either Shakti is or not. So in the material world also, sometimes the Lord empowers a living entity to achieve something extraordinary. And such personalities are also called Shakti Avesha Avatar. Such powers in Bhagavad Gita are explained as Vibhuti. Etat Vibhuti Mat Sattvam. So in this world, any Vibhuti, any extraordinary opulence you see, that means that is the Vibhuti manifested by the Supreme Lord in them. In the recent times, we see such extraordinary Shakti is being manifested in the body of Srila Prabhupada. But Prabhupada is not belonging to this material world. He has been empowered by the Lord to come from the spiritual world to propagate the Krishna consciousness in this world. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also explaining that Bhudharana Shakti Anante. Lord Ananta is invested with Bhudharana Shakti, the holding power of all these planetary systems and the universes. The material scientists, they think that gravitational power is holding these planets and universes together, but the Vedic wisdom says behind that gravitational power is Lord Ananta. So the Ananta's power is holding these planets, which we perceive it as some kind of a gravitational, which is a very approximate understanding. Gravitational power. The scientists are unable to explain, Radha Govinda, how these gravitational laws, the Newton laws and all these gravitational laws, they don't work when it comes to planetary systems level. They say some other law, some Kepler's theory or something. And then they don't work when it comes to the atom level. They have many theories at the atom. But all these powers, they are originating from a powerful personality. Behind Shakti, there should be Shaktiman. And the Shaktiman decides how the Shakti should work. This is natural, we see everywhere. So similarly, whatever Shaktis we perceive in this world, they are all coming from a Shaktiman. In fact, the Shaktiman invests that power. Similarly, devotees also, sometimes they are able to achieve some things in their devotional services to the Lord. And sometimes we see devotees exhibiting some unusual Shaktis. So that the devotee should know that this particular ability to do something, all these abilities and Shaktis are given to me by the Supreme Lord for a specific purpose. In order to render service to Him, Lord empowers the devotees. If the devotee desires, I want to serve the Supreme Lord, I want to serve my spiritual master, then Krishna empowers that devotee. Even if the devotee doesn't have the required abilities, the required Shakti, the Lord empowers the devotee so that he can achieve something in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So our mood should be like that. Our prayer to Prabhupada is that, Prabhupada, your desires are there for this area. Prabhupada has come to this Andhra for many times, and he preached in many places. Prabhupada went to Vizag, he went to Rajahmundry, he went to Nellore, he went to Tirupati, Tirumala, he came to Hyderabad. Like that, in Andhra we see Prabhupada has spent a lot of time and preached. And although, like in Lilamrita we have heard, although materially it appears that Prabhupada has disappeared from our vision, he is still present with us in the form of his Vani and his pastimes. So if somebody takes this Vani seriously, he takes Prabhupada's desire seriously, particularly for this reason, and then he thinks that yes, I want to do something in this direction, then he will be empowered. Guru empowers. Guru is a representative of Lord Sankarshan, Ananta, Balaram Tattva, and then he gives the strength for the devotees to achieve something that he is desiring. So we should always ride on the desires of the spiritual master. A disciple cannot have independent desires. He should carefully study Prabhupada's teachings and leelas and pick up some desires from those teachings. And then he should be meditating on those desires, and then how I can become an instrument in the hand of my spiritual master. Our mood is that, Prabhupada, you wanted something here, and then you have given an opportunity to us to serve you, but I am not qualified, I don't have that Shakti, I don't have that ability. Please bless me so that I can become a small instrument in fulfilling your desires. This is the mood of the devotees. So here we see the Kumaras, they are very inquisitive to know, and then they comes and meets Lord Sankarshan. So in one of the purports, Prabhupada quotes Lagu Bhagavatamruta, and where the description is given. Who is this Sankarshana who is seated in the bottom of the universe? Here it is mentioned, the Sankarshana of the second group of quadruple forms. Actually, original Lord is Krishna, then Balaram, and comes the first quadruple forms, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Anuruddhan, Pradyumna. Then comes the second quadruple. So, the Sankarsana of the second group of quadruple forms appears as Rama, taking with him Shesha, who bears the global spears. So here, Lagu Bhagavatamrita by Sanatana Goswami, he clarifies there are two features of Shesha. One is the bearer of the globes, and the other is the bedstead servitor. Like a bed, he serves the Supreme Lord as a bed. The Shesha who bears the globes is a potent incarnation of Sankarshan, and therefore he is sometimes also called Sankarshan. Actually, Sankarshana, from Sankarshana comes Shesha, but he is also known as Sankarshan. The bedstead feature of Shesha always presents himself as an eternal servitor of the Lord. He acts as a bed, either for the Lord as for reclining form, or for the Lord to stand up. We are fortunate in our temple, there is Ananta, Lord Ananta, and the Lord is in a standing posture on Shesha, Lord Shesha, who is always presents himself as an eternal servitor. So here we are hearing about Lord Sankarshan, who is at the bottom of the universe. So the next shloka explains that the Lord Sankarshana is closing his eyes and is appearing to be meditating on someone. Who is he meditating on? So that is mentioned here. Vasudeva abhidham amananti. The learned scholars have mentioned that Lord Sankarshana is meditating on Lord Vasudeva. Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So Sankarshana is meditating on Lord Vasudeva. But then Vibudha Udayaya, for enlightening the learned sages, what did he do? Unmilyayantam, he has slightly opened his lotus-like eyes. Sankarshan, who is Ananta, he slightly opened his lotus-like eyes and he began to speak. Pratyagdruta Ambuja Kosham, lotus-like eyes. So you can see the personal features of Ananta. Although he is in a form of a Shesha, a big thousands and thousands of hoods are present in Ananta, but his eyes are compared to Ambuja Aksha, the lotus eyes of Ananta. Then how did the sages reach the bottom of the universe? Because the whole universe has these 14 planetary systems. All these great sages are there in the Satya Loka, and Lord Sankarshan is present in the Patala Loka, the bottommost planetary system. In fact, he is situated below Patala Loka, in the Garbhodaka Ocean. Devotees, we know this universe, when it was created, Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu entered this universe, and it is mentioned that from his sweat came the Garbhodaka Ocean, and then he reclines on Shesha, and then from his navel came the big lotus, and then the top planetary system is the Satyaloka, and the bottommost is Patala. Hellish planets are next to it, next to lower planetary systems. And then it is mentioned in the 5th canto that below Patala, in the Garbhodaka Ocean, this Ananta is present, who is actually sustaining all these planetary systems. It is said that on one hood, these planetary systems are present like small peas, like batani. That means it is so easy for Ananta. It's not that he is struggling to carry all the planetary systems and the universes. No. They are like little batanis there, that's all. He doesn't even know that they are there. In the sense, it's so easy for him. So, now how did the sages from the Satyaloka reach the bottommost planetary system? Here it is mentioned, Swarduni Udadrai. They have reached through the Ganges, the river Ganges. So how is it they are able to do? It is mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Ganges is the only river which flows in all the 14 planetary systems. It flows in the Satyaloka, and then it comes down to our planet, and then it again flows down and then reaches even up to Patala Loka. So the longest flowing river, I don't know what is the general knowledge as of today, it is not some useless name. The longest flowing river is Ganges water. What is the length and width of this Ganges? You cannot even measure, don't even know. So this Ganges water, so Prabhupada is explaining there is one a kind of mystic power by which the sages they can travel through these waters, flowing river, and then they can reach any planet. So Prabhupada is explaining here, a perfect yogi can at once transport himself from one place to another simply by dipping in the water. See, this is a perfect yogi. So sages have a interesting transportation system. They can just dip here, they'll dip in Rajamandri, that is Godavari. They dip in Ganges, and then they can get up in Patal Loka. Somebody sees them, no, they take a dip here, they are not visible, and then they come up in Patala. That is called mystic power. And here it is mentioned that Swajata Kalapair Upasprushantasta. That means it is also given the detail that their heads are wet. The sages' heads, they are wet. Why? Because Ganges water has touched them. Charanopadhanam. The water which has touched the lotus feet of the Lord, that has touched the heads of the sages. So Prabhupada is mentioning here very nicely that anybody who takes the water of Ganges on their heads, surely they are touching the lotus feet of the Lord directly. So because the water has washed the lotus feet of the Lord, if somebody is taking the water on their heads, actually they are touching the lotus feet of the Lord directly. Through Ganges, they are touching the Lord directly, and they will be certainly purified. But Prabhupada is saying, after purification, if one doesn't commit the sinful activities again, then certainly he will be delivered. But if somebody commits the sinful activities after touching this river, or touching the deity, or touching the Lord in various forms, Krishna has manifested his presence in so many ways for us to touch him directly. The most potent form in this age is chanting of this Hare Krishna. We are touching Krishna directly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. That's why after chanting this mantra, if we are able to follow the 4 regulative principles and don't commit sinful activities again, then certainly he will be able to deliver himself. And then Swaprema Nana Bhalibhi Varartha Ahiraja Kanya Padmam Yadarchanti. Now this Lord Sankarshan, the Lord Anantadeva's Padmam, the lotus feet, is Archanti, worshipped by Ahiraja Kanya. This Pataloka is also called Nagaloka, where very demoniac Naga snakes are present. And the chief among those Nagas is Ahiraja, Vasuki. Kanya, their daughters, they worship Ananta. They travel to Ananta and then they worship him Saprema, with great devotion. In fact, the Bhagavatam explains it is in Madhura Bhava, Madhurya Rasa, between these Naga Kanyas and Ananta Deva. So Saprema Nana Balibhi, they offer various paraphernalia, Varardha, with a desire, desirous of husbands, being desirous of husbands. Some of them desire Ananta himself as an husband. So that Lord Sankarshana, he began to speak, and then we will see in the next purports the the Bhagavatam coming from the lotus mouth of Lord Sankarshan. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.